For part 1 of the Coin Vault project, you'll be modeling the individual components in Fusion 360 based off of dimension drawings that are provided. In a new Fusion document, save your work and always start off by creating a new component. Component number 1 is going to be the front. Click OK. And notice our component is now under here. Each individual component will be underneath, and we don't want any component inside of another component. We want all our components underneath this master main level section. Start with a sketch on this bottom plane. A rectangle tool. It doesn't matter where we're going to sketch these. Our first dimension is going to be 4 by 4 for a 4-inch square. Enter. And then we're going to go O to offset. We're going to drag this in 0.625. Circle tool. We're going to draw a circle at each corner. These first circles are going to represent the hole for the rivets to hold the window in place. 0.125, 1/8 of an inch diameter. I'm going to go ahead and use the equal constraint. And I'm going to repeat that. And then this one will be the 1/2 inch radius or a 1-inch diameter for the kind of reverse fillet. Notice I'm just sketching these without an assigned dimension, and I'm going to go back and link them parametrically. In case we ever need to change it, it'll make it easier. So that's D5. There we go. We have our 1-inch or 1/2 inch radius. Now we're going to go ahead and press T to trim, trim away. Like that. And our final thing we need to do is add a small fillet sketch, fillet right there, and that's going to be a radius of 0.125 at each sharp corner. Stop sketch. E to extrude. We're going to extrude this out a distance of 0.071, which is the thickness of the 14 gauge hot rolled steel. Okay. Now we need to activate the top part in our browser and do a new component. Component number 2 will be the top. If you don't activate this top level component, this will actually be inside of that. I can kind of demonstrate if I go to the front view or the front part and go new component, and my parent component is already selected. It's going to be inside of that, and we don't want that. We want to make sure we go back up here, activate the top level, and then add the new component from there. So now that's our active component. All these parts are just going to be sketched out on the same plane right next to each other. They don't have to be really nice and laid out neatly, just kind of on the same plane. 4 by 4. And then this has a rectangle in the center-ish area, and we're going to dimension that. Looks like we go here to here. 1.875, here to here, 1.4, here to here, 0.25, here to here, 1.2, and this should give us the same on the other side, saying that and that are the same. We don't really need that dimension. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let's see if we lock that point in place. That will make sure everything. Now, once basically by locking this point, it's kind of like when we start drawing at the origin. With this point being locked here in space, everything is now black and fully constrained, and I can't move anything around at all. Circle tool, we got the two holes for the rivets. We're going to hover here to get the midpoint. We're going to click. That's going to be 0.125. Same thing on the other side, 0.125. And those holes are going to be 1.25 from the center to the edge. And notice they're blue, they're not fully locked in and constrained. Looks like we can still move them vertically this way. So what we want to do is go D to dimension, and this is going to be 2 inches. Even though it's already at 2, it's good to actually have that measurement on there. Lets us know everything's all black, all fully constrained. Stop sketch, E to extrude, and then we're going to pull this out once again, 0.071. We're going to get it started, and then go 0.071. Enter. Go ahead and save. And then once again, make sure you go back up to here, activate that, then do your new component. Component 3 is going to be the side. We're going to need 3 of these, but we're only going to have to draw 1 of them. Starting on our sketch, we're going to pick that bottom plane, rectangle, just going to draw it anywhere. 4 by 4. Enter, enter. That's that. E to extrude. Get it started, 0.071. Save. And activate our top level. New component. Component 4 is going to be the bottom. Starting right there. Rectangle. It's also going to be a 4-inch square. Offset 0.5, half inch, I believe. Yep, right there on the drawing sheet, 0.5. And then we're going to go circle tool right at that intersection. That's going to be a 0.28, a little bit bigger than our 1/4-inch hole. This is where the bolt's going to go through, so we want to make sure we have clearance. Just going to draw those and then go back and make them equal. Line tool, we kind of have to draw a little chamfer right here. Again, I'm just sketching it, and I'm going to go back and properly dimension it. D to dimension, it's going to be there to there. That's going to be 0.375, and that's basically going to be repeated, looks like, with D34. This is already dimensioned because of some parallel and perpendicular constraints. I'm just going to click OK. D34. D34. Once again, that D34 is referencing this dimension, which was the 34th dimension in this part file. D34. And let's see, this one's already D34 because, once again, we have that parallel and perpendicular constraint already active. Now we're going to go and make sure we got all our measurements on our drawing. E to extrude. I want to click that, that, that. Notice it's not necessary to trim. Just going to spend a little bit of time in our selection area when we are doing our 0.071 extrusion. Okay, go ahead and save for good measure, and then activate our top component. New component. Component 5 is going to be the cover plate. Really don't have to draw any of these parts in any particular order. Create a new sketch. Bottom plane. Rectangle tool, it's going to be 3.75 by 3.75. Enter, enter. Circle, looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 0.4. Dimensioning edge to circle center is going to be 0.375. Gonna go ahead, notice how it moved the square, not the circle. I'm gonna go ahead and click on that point and fix that. D to dimension, same thing. Oops, slow down. We don't have everything parametrically linked, but everything's good with the dimensions, so we're not going to do any changing to that. But we do need to make sure that these holes are the right diameter, and that's going to be 0.28. Once again, we've given us room for our 1/4 inch hole, approximately 30 thousandths. And our last thing is going to be a fillet, getting rid of these sharp 90-degree corners with a radius of 0.125. E to extrude, 0.071. Go back to the top level, new component. Go ahead and draw the window. Click OK. Top view, sketch right there. Rectangle tool, this rectangle is going to be 3.5 by 3.5. Enter, and it's going to have our holes for our rivets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those holes are going to be 0.18 in diameter. It's a little bit bigger than a normal rivet hole, but we're riveting into acrylic or Lexan, and we don't want to crack the acrylic, so we make the hole a little bit bigger so it doesn't squeeze and split the acrylic. Equal constraint, equal, equal, equal. You could mirror this hole based off of the center. It's not really saving that much time since this is a pretty simple part. And then this has the standard 0.375 distance from center to edge in both the X and Y. Stop sketch, E to extrude. This one's going to be an actual thickness of 0.125, approximately 1/8 of an inch thick. I'm going to go ahead and save, go OK, go back up to the top level, new component, and our final component is going to be the coin slot. This will actually be water jet cut out of brass. Everything else will be plasma cut or cut on the CNC router. Still undecided on how we're going to cut out the window, whether it's on the laser cutter or the router. Starting with, we already got our new component, new sketch, bottom plane, rectangle tool. We're going to start with a rectangle that's going to be 2 inches by 0.75. Circle tool. Draw these kind of reverse fillets. That's going to be a 0.1875 times 2. The drawing sheet has it in radius and we need a diameter, so we times it by 2. Repeat that for each corner. go ahead and fix that corner point, keep everything kind of locked together. Next thing is going to be trim. Go ahead and trim away our corner. Gonna go sketch, slot, where are we at? Gonna do a center slot. We're going to go down, we're gonna try to get the center right there. I'm just gonna go over here, just kind of eyeball it first. That slot's going to have a thickness of 0.125. It's going to be from center to center 0.875. And if we look at it right now, it looks like we can move it around still, so we want to dimension here to here. That's going to be 0.75 divided by 2. Whoa, that messed that up. Let's see. What's going on here? I'm just going to go ahead. I know my outside dimensions are all good. I'm just going to go ahead and fix those. There we go. 0.75 divided by 2. And then D to dimension, this center point to there should be 1 inch. So now that slot's nice and perfectly centered. Everything's locked in. And our final thing, we actually got 2 more things to do. Circle, these are for our rivets. We're going to go right there. 0.16. The water jet can actually cut a more accurate rivet hole diameter. So we're going to do 0.16. And that is centered to this edge 0.25. 0.25. And our final thing is going to be fillet. Each of these sharp corners is going to have a slight radius of 0.0625, 0.0625, 16th of an inch. E to extrude, this is going to get extruded up 0.036. It's the thickness of the brass. And now we have all of our components needed for the coin vault. After modeling all the components, we need to actually make 2 more copies of this side component. So right here on the side component, we're going to activate that. Right click, copy, activate our top level component, paste, 2, paste again, 3. So we now have our 3 side pieces, our bottom, our cover plate, our acrylic, our front piece, top piece, and the coin slot. That is everything for part 1 for the coin vault project.